everybody! In this video we take a look at the question, can't a sequence of if statements replace an if-elif statement? The answer is, well, which I know isn't very specific or helpful. So let's take a look at the question in terms of an example. In particular, the if-elif statement from the last video that converts a numeric grade to a pass-fail grade. Remember that a numeric grade over 85 is a high pass, between 60 and 84 is a pass, and 59 or below is a fail. Recall that the if-elif statement tested the numeric grade against the lower bound of each of the grade ranges to determine the pass-fail grade. As a first step, let's look at converting the original condition tests directly into a sequence of if statements. The first condition, num grade greater than or equal to 85, can stay the same. The second condition now becomes if num grade greater than or equal to 60, and it keeps its associated else. Let's trace the new code with num grade having a value of 95 and see how it goes. The first if statement is executed, and since 95 greater than or equal to 85 is true, PF grade is assigned high pass. Execution then continues on to the next if statement, but since 95 is greater than 60 is also true, PF grade is now assigned pass. After skipping over the associated else portion, final grade, pass, will be output, which is incorrect for a score of 95. Let's see how we can possibly fix this code. One problem is that the original code only tested the lower bounds of the grade ranges because it leveraged the fact that after the first true condition of an if-elif statement is found, the remaining conditions are skipped. So let's adjust the second condition test so that it is true only if num grade is really between the bounds of 60 and 84, giving us if num grade is greater than or equal to 60 and num grade is less than or equal to 84. Okay, let's trace the new code with a value of 95 for num grade. Again, the first condition is true, assigning high pass to PF grade. Now, when the second if statement executes, num grade greater than or equal to 60 and num grade less than or equal to 84 is false, since num grade is not less than 84, so its code segment is skipped. But execution then jumps to the else code segment, assigning PF grade fail and resulting in the output final grade fail, which is also incorrect for a score of 95. So it looks like we need to go the distance and also change the else to an if statement that tests the boundary values of the range, giving us if num grade is less than or equal to 59 and num grade is greater than or equal to 0. Let's try this new version with num grade again being 95. The first condition again evaluates to true, assigning high pass to PF grade. The second if statement then evaluates to false, and its associated code segment is skipped. Finally, the last if statement executes, and since 95 is not less than 59, the condition is false, and its code segment is skipped as well. Final grade, high pass, is then output for a correct result. So the answer to can't a sequence of if statements replace an if-elif statement is that, paying careful attention to the condition tests, yes, a sequence of if statements can replace an if-elif statement. But the better question is, should a sequence of if statements replace an if-elif statement? And the answer to that question is no, for two reasons. First, it's a matter of efficiency, by which I mean how fast a program runs based on the number of statements that execute for a given run. Consider a sequence of if statements. Regardless of the result of any of the condition tests, every if statement will execute, and its condition will be tested every time the program is run. However, with an if-elif statement, in the worst case, all the conditions will be tested. But on average, one of the conditions will evaluate to true, causing the remaining conditions to be skipped, resulting in fewer conditions being tested than an equivalent sequence of if statements. Therefore, using an if-elif statement is more efficient than using an equivalent sequence of if statements. The second reason a sequence of if statements should not be used in place of an if-elif statement is a matter of style relating to maintaining and updating code. Imagine you have written code that 6 months later someone who has never seen the code needs to update, or you need to update. which 6 months later is as good as someone who has never seen the code before needing to update it. In examining the code, the statements you used are the clues as to the underlying logic of your solution, clues that will need to be understood in order to successfully change the code. Seeing an if-elif statement is a clue that indicates that only one of the code segments could ever execute. On the other hand, a sequence of if statements indicates that more than one of the code segments could execute. So using a sequence of if statements when an if-elif should be used is misleading, if not, frankly, confusing. So even though you could replace an if-elif statement with a sequence of if statements, you should not do it. By choosing statements that accurately reflect the logic of the underlying solution, you are writing code that is easier to understand, debug, and update when changes are needed.